Yeah. Working with DJ, that's one of the drills he likes to do, especially at the end of workouts, is kind of simulate that coming off the bench and being open on the first shot and knocking it down. So yeah, it was just kind of a simulation of that.
How important is it to get those kind of reps, and then have you started to feel a difference?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it's important because that's where I want to be. I want to be able to come off that bench and be kind of just jumping right on a 100-mile-an-hour treadmill and be able to withstand it and keep going and make an impact right away. And I think that's what Joe expects from everyone coming off the bench. And I know I can be that and live up to that. So it's good to kind of rep that and simulate that as much as you can in your workouts.
Are you guys starting to see the results? I mean, Joe says that, but to see it kind of play out on the floor.
Yeah, absolutely. I felt really good in my rhythm, especially not really last game, but before that, and kind of finding that and where I can help and impact this team the most. And so yeah, definitely feeling great out there.
You watch Josh and the impact he's brought to the starting lineup. What are you seeing there, and is he even better than he was a year or two ago? Like, are there little things you see there?
It's been amazing. For him, he's worked really hard, and I think there are a lot of things that I'm seeing that I've seen before. I think, just throughout the G League, and we've played a lot of basketball together. Whether it's pickup, games that no one's seeing, and different things like that. But I've definitely seen him unlock a level on the defensive end that I hadn't seen him before. Just being extremely aggressive on the ball, getting steals everywhere, and I think this defensive concept has kind of really unlocked that for him, and it's been really fun to watch him kind of go out there and guard the best player on the other team and disrupt that guy. So I think that's a big development that I think he was really good defensively before, but something that I feel like he's improved on, and he worked hard this summer, man, and you could see the improvement.
Yeah, a lot of the new guys were here over the summer. Like, for you and him both making that move together, like, did you spend a lot of time together? Did you work out together? Like, what was the summer like for you two?
For sure. I mean, I think we've always been in it together in terms of workouts since he got to the league, and since I got to Minnesota was just going down to the G League together. We're in those stay ready groups together, so a lot of it was kind of just what we've been doing the last couple of years. It was just kind of a seamless transition together, and I think it didn't increase or decrease. It was just now that we're getting a lot more opportunity. There was a lot. I guess there was definitely another level of engagement that we got to in terms of finding ways of how we can impact this team when we get in there and onto the floor.
Jalen and Joe have both said that this group has been really good at watching film and then directly applying that stuff to the court. What does that process look like from a player standpoint? Obviously we don't really get to see that side of you guys, right? But they both said that's what gives them a lot of confidence in this team, is that you guys are kind of quickly applying the things that you're learning. What's that like been for you?
Absolutely. I mean, first I'd say I think the coaches, that run the film sessions. Joe and the other coaches that come up there do a great job of just kind of putting out the pointers and in a way that's really easy to understand and be able to apply quickly. But I think we got a lot of guys that have been through a little bit, but also have a willingness to learn and get better. A lot of guys that are unproven or striving to prove themselves in a different way. And so that allows you to have that, kind of that curiosity to learn. So when you see something on film, you want to directly apply it. You don't have any other, thing, ego or anything. That kind of all goes aside because you want to improve and help this team win. So I think a lot of us are in that position, and that kind of helps us just see the film. And for me, that's just kind of always been, the film doesn't lie. And I think, that's something that people say a lot, but it's powerful, and you have to understand that when you can't argue with what's on the screen, when they're playing it, and that's how you can help improve is seeing that and using it.
This new chaotic style of defense, how comfortable have you felt playing in it, and what sort of impact do you think it's been having on the opponents so far?
I think it's it really helps. Obviously, when you pressure a guard all the way up 94 feet, and then he has to go into a pick and roll, he's a little bit more tired. He's not as comfortable as he was, if there was no one picking him up and he goes straight down. And, I think the NBA is a lot about guys getting into their rhythm. And so trying to disrupt that as much as you can, that helps everyone on the floor, but especially me as a big in a pick and roll situation. I think that's definitely, helped. And, I'm trying to do the same thing when they come down in the pick and roll and disrupt their gathers or the reads that they see, or, if they're going to pass to the big, or, if they want to take a floater, make them take it further out than they want to. I think we're all trying to disrupt at different levels, and that's kind of the whole idea of the defense.
Last question. You've shown with your opportunities or acclimated to here that you're most encouraged by so far?
Can you repeat that? Sorry.
Yeah, what have you shown so far with your
Yeah.
opportunities that you're most encouraged by or that you've been able to acclimate to?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've shown what's been consistent throughout my career is when I'm out there, I'm going to play as hard as I can, and I've been happy with the level of effort and energy that I brought every time I've stepped on the floor. I think when I'm out there, I think I've done a good job of adapting and understanding how I can impact the flow, especially on the offensive end, just kind of getting guys into rhythm with screening or just my presence from the three-point line or whatever it is. I think I've done a good job in that, and I think defensively. I've been able to show and kind of try to be more of a playmaker, as they're saying, and get steals or kind of protect the rim at another level than I have in my career. So all of those things kind of apply. I think it's obviously the first time in my career that I've gotten this much opportunity this consistently. Obviously to start a season, so it's all new for me, but it's been so much fun, and I'm looking forward to continue to go out there and give them everything I have every single opportunity I get.